My name's Kevin Papsiak. I am 26 years old. Um, I'm about to tell my testament. I'm not religious at all, so please don't think that I'm spiritual. A person that's spiritual is not scared to go to hell. A person that is religious is scared to go to hell, so they judge everybody. Um, but I do believe God. I believe Jesus was nothing but a man, and his message was nothing but love. Um, I believe in the Old Testament, not the New, because the New Testament I felt like is added on to something that's already good. Um, I don't believe Jesus was God in the flesh. I believe he was his son. But when Jesus said, I am, he put himself above God. And I believe that's why God let him die on the cross. But when he died on the cross, he became love. And when we have love inside us, we have Jesus inside us. And, well, my testament starts off, well, kind of bad for a very long time. And, well, here it goes. When I was 3 years old, my father tried drowning me in a bathtub. I seen him beat the shit out of my mom and rape her in front of me. I went to go get an icy when I was 4 out of a refrigerator and a freezer, and my dad told me not to, but I did anyways, as being a defiant little kid. And he choked me up against the refrigerator. And snapped a bunny's neck on my 5th birthday and said no son of mine will ever have a bunny. My father was a really nice man when he was sober. Well, I don't know how he is now, but when he was sober, he was a really nice man, but when he got drunk, he blacked out and he did some very violent shit. I remember one time him and my mom were fighting, and me and my sister were laying down in a dark room and just hearing things break and them screaming. And we were screaming for our mom, and my mom opened the door and all her teeth were knocked out and she was bleeding from her nose all the way down. And my sisters are mentally impaired, both of them. And the last time I remember being around my father for a long time was when he tried chasing me and my sisters around a coffee table with a screwdriver and sat on top of us and beat the living shit out of my mom because she sat on top of us. And it messed me up. When I was younger, I never really talked about my issues to my mom. Nobody. It crushed my trust with everybody. So I was taking it out on my sisters and my mom, being really, 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 really mean to everyone. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for that. People do change, and I met a girl when I was 14 years old. She was 17. I loved her, but because I didn't love myself and hated myself, that I sat there and took it out on her and I pushed her away. She tried dealing with it for 6.5 years. And one day she couldn't take it no more. And I lost my family. And I got But my daughter, she saved my life, because the moment my daughter was born, April 21st of 2009, I sat there and made a promise to myself that I was going to change, and that I was going to be a better man for my daughter. And it didn't happen overnight. I kept on making mistakes, but I kept on learning from my mistakes. When I was 21, I found out my mom had stage 4 lymphoma, and I was my mom's backbone because I'm her only son. I'm her middle child, and I was her backbone. I was pushing her. I was getting mad at her. I would not let her give up. I was either working at Frito-Lay's as a line manager, or I was sitting there taking care of my mom because she had stage 4 lymphoma. Never, or got to see my daughter on the weekends. I never got to go out. So one day my friends asked me, well, my so-called friend and one of my friends asked me to go to the bar with them, or, you know, just chill. And I was telling them, I was like, bro, I feel sick to my stomach. I want to go home. And they talked me into getting into the car. I got into the car on my own free will. They didn't force me. Come to find out, the one in the back seat was trying to rob a 7-Eleven, and I got caught up in the mix. The state was offering me probation and would drop it down to a burglary charge if I would help the state out, but I told them I wasn't willing to help the state out, and did 2.5 years, 5 at 50 for my first offense ever. My inmate number is M49984. My mom passed away when April 26, 2015, I was at a work camp called Hardin County Work Camp, which they shut down. And it broke me. I was literally broken. And that night, I waited until about 3 o'clock in the morning and got on my hands and knees crying and prayed to God, which I was so mad at the time, that anybody asked me, did I believe in God? I said no, but in my heart I did. But while everybody was sleeping, I got on my hands and knees crying over my bunk and prayed to God for the knowledge and wisdom of this universe to help His will out, not mine. And He did not answer it for 2.5 years, right? My daughter's born April 21st, 2009. My mother passed away April 26, 2015. I tried killing myself April 23rd, 2017. I got out March 2nd, 2017, and tried killing myself April 23rd, 2017. I drank 9 bottles of cough syrup that day, and was trying to just die. And the last thing, I was in my friend's car. We were smoking a blunt, and they were in the front seat. Her, which her name's Nikki, and then her boyfriend, which name is Rari. I was smoking, and I hit it. I just remember hitting it 3 times, and I passed out. And it really, come to find out, I guess I stopped breathing for 2 minutes, and they stopped the car, and Nikki was crying, and Rari was trying to blow in my face, and I just took a deep breath, and I was like, and they were both of them were freaking out. They're like, we're driving you to the hospital. But I was like so depressed. I was like, no, you take me to the hospital, I'm jumping out this moving car. And we were going 60 miles per hour, and I was not joking. So they both were mad at me, but they could not do anything but take me home. My godbrother always keeps his keys on his belt, even when he's sleeping, because he has a gun lock box with a gun in it. But tell me why that night I walked in there, the only thing that I seen sitting on that coffee table was the keys, and the first key I saw was that gun key. It tempted me so bad. I sat there for hours just staring at it. Finally, I caved. I wrote 15 goodbye letters, grabbed that key, went upstairs, unlocked the box, cocked it, loaded it, sat there, pulled the hammer back, and was sitting like this on the bed, and behind me was just nothing but a window, and the moonlight was coming in. That was it. I was sitting there for hours, just thinking. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 2:30, I sat there, put that gun in my mouth, and went to go pull the trigger. And at that moment, I seen a blinding light, not a white light, but blinding. Like the only thing I can compare it to was like a flashbang. And in the corner of that dark room was nothing but my mom in a white gown and a man I'd never seen before. They both were crying. They both begged me to burn those letters and get rid of that gun. And I did exactly that. I went to bed. I was like, man, I'm just too high. I went to bed, and the next morning, I sat there and looked at the place they told me to go to, which was Wayside Cross Ministries, which I never heard of. Before I got out, and the parole wanted me to go there, but I was deciding to stay at my godmother's house. But that night, when I seen those and they told me to go, I never been there, never heard of it. I was skeptical. But the next day I woke up and I typed in Wayside Cross Ministries. It was in Aurora, Illinois. I called, and they still had the bed waiting for me. I went that day, which it was a Bible-based study program. I didn't last. I did 2 months because I got caught smoking weed, because it's the only thing that calmed my anxiety and my PTSD down. And they kicked me out on the street, nowhere to go. And I relapsed on the cough syrup again. Then I tried to get back. They let me back a second time. That time I didn't smoke weed at all. But because it was in my system, they kicked me out again. That was the only way they had a way to kick me out. Then the third time I tried going back there, and same thing, I got kicked out for not even smoking, but because it was in my system. Sometimes, depending on how much you smoke, it takes up to 90 days to get out your system, not 30. And I was a heavy smoker. And that's why I don't believe in religion, Christian, any of them. Why? Because everybody is so judgmental. They want to think that their God is correct, guess what? God is all of them. It's the same God, just different names. And everybody's fighting over it, killing each other over it. Then you guys want to listen to politics like they're really doing something for us, when they're sitting there getting rich off of us, and we're just sitting there allowing it to happen while we barely make it by in life and we struggle. And then all you guys want to talk about is immigrants and stuff. What about you guys? I'm half Native American. The least talk about genocide in school is about Native Americans. Oh, but we celebrate Christopher Columbus like he was such a good man when he was nothing but a pirate. Sat there, slaughtered all my people, raped my people, put my people into slavery, and everything was okay. Right? They sit there and tell you, oh no, we sold our land for beads and firewater. No, that's not true. Our shit was taken from us. You don't believe me? Look it up yourself. Right? But no, everybody wants to go against race and color, but if we get cut, we all bleed the same, right? Right? You guys want to kill each other over religion, over politics, which is so stupid. So stupid. And I'm just trying to share my testimony. I tried in the past taking my life 19 times. 19. The last time I tried taking my life, I wrote 3 goodbye letters. I cut my chest open. I cut my wrist open. The right way, not left and right, but up and down. And it took 2 months for them to heal, but I sat there while I was bleeding. I sat there and took extension cord and wrapped it in my door and put a knot through it. And was on a stool. And I kicked it. And my feet were hanging off the ground. And I passed out while I was hanging. And I woke up on the ground. Nobody was home besides one person, and my door was locked. The door was still locked. It snapped. I seen nothing but white, black, and gray, and heard ringing in my ears. And I got up. I felt numb. Like, I couldn't explain the feeling. I never felt the feeling before. I felt really, really, really numb. And I walked to the hospital. I got help. And that day, my depression died. I am still pushing forward. I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, some days are harder than others. When people say you gotta love yourself before you love other people, they are truly lost, because how can you learn how to love somebody else, or even yourself, if you don't learn how to open up and love somebody else? Or something. It could be an animal. It could be anything. But when you learn how to love yourself before everybody else, you become selfish. And that's not a good thing. Like I said before, I'm not religious. I do not believe in religion, because religion, all those people, I tried to go to Bible-based study programs. I believe in God. I believe Jesus was a man, and I believe his message was nothing but love. But people that are religious are very judgmental, because they're so scared to go to hell that they judge everybody. A person that's spiritual already been there. And it's an ugly truth, and I'm just sharing my testimony with you guys so you guys could understand what I've been through and open up. For this is not my testimony, this is God's testimony. I'm just a part of it. And I read the Bible every day. I read the Old Testament more than the New Testament, because I believe it's a very good book. But why add on to something that's already good? Right? When Jesus said, I I get so conflicted by that, because Jesus was nothing but a mere man. Yes, he might have been the Son of God, but he was still nothing but a man. So when he said, I am, he put himself above God, and that's why I believe God let him die on the cross. But he died on the cross for a good reason. He died to become love. When you have love in your heart, you have Jesus in your heart, and when you have Jesus in your heart, you are truly saved. And right? My favorite hero is Nikola Tesla. He stated you could unlock the secrets of the universe with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Instead of looking at it just numbers, look at the Holy Trinity. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. A triangle, right? Instead of looking at it as a flat piece of triangle on a flat piece of paper, look at it as a 4-dimensional triangle that you can move it around. You could touch it, you can manipulate it, right? And then if you take it and twist it, you get a 6-point star, which is the Star of David. And if you look in the middle of the Star of David, you will find the truth, which the truth lies there. And that's how I try to live my life, right? Albert Einstein stated that the people that are depressed in this world, it's because they are awoke to society, what's really happening and what's really going on. Albert Einstein himself was dyslexic and depressed. He went and seen a psychiatrist himself. And all I ask you guys is please pushing forward. You're not alone. May God be with you. I love you guys.